Hello, welcome to the next video lecture on strength of materials.
In this session, we will discuss about elastic constants. Few of the elastic constants you are already familiar. For example, modulus of elasticity or Young's modulus is a constant that is obtained from Hooke's law. Ratio of stress to strain is Young's modulus. Modulus of rigidity is G, or in some textbooks it is denoted as C. G also can be defined from the Hooke's law. It is defined as the ratio of shear stress to shear strain within the elastic limit. So G is equal to tau by gamma. That also we have defined. Poisson's ratio also it is denoted by the symbol nu, or in some textbooks it is denoted as 1 over m. It is the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. That also We will discuss one more elastic constant that is important for us, that is called bulk modulus. It is denoted by the letter K. I'll write the definition of this. When a body is subjected to a hydrostatic state of stress, hydrostatic stress means three normal stresses of same nature and intensity. That is called hydrostatic stress. Then the ratio of direct stress sigma to the corresponding volumetric strain, denoted by the letter epsilon V, is defined as bulk modulus. This definition you would have understood in fluid mechanics also. There also it will come. Reason why we discuss in fluid mechanics also is, see, there is a state of hydrostatic nature. Hydrostatic means if you consider a small cube like this, it can be a fluid element also, or it can be a cuboidal element taken from the solid state also. When it is subjected to a same stress in all directions like this, I can call this as sigma x, this as sigma y, and sigma z. This is called three-dimensional loading. When this kind of stress system is present with equal magnitude, all three stresses should be of the same magnitude, then it is known as hydrostatic stress. Normally in fluids, at any point, if you take a small cuboidal volume of the fluid, it is subjected to this kind of state of stress. So in this case, K is defined as sigma divided by epsilon V. Epsilon V is volumetric strain. This is the definition of bulk modulus. Relation between Young's modulus E and modulus of rigidity G. So we'll try to relate E and G now, for which I need to draw a sketch which relates normal strain and shear strain. So I am taking a square plate like this, and let us say the bottom edge is fixed here. This edge is fixed, and I am trying to apply a shear stress on this edge, which is of magnitude tau. Now because of this shear stress, the body deforms. There will be angular deformation. I will call these corners as A, B, C and D. Now after deformation, it may take a position like this. I'll just exaggerate and show, but normally it will not deform so much. You know that deformations are small. I'm showing it in dotted line. This is a deformed position. I'll call these new points as B dash, and this point I'll call it as C dash. This is a square plate. I can define what is shear strain. This angle is gamma, which is shear strain. There is something called a theory of complementary shear. When there is a shear stress applied here, there has to be a shear stress here also. This is the reaction. And this is not sufficient. See, when you have two forces equal and opposite direction separated by a distance, it produces a couple, you know that. So there's a clockwise couple now. So for equilibrium, there should be a balanced couple on the anti-clockwise also. So on the opposite sides also, there will be shear stresses. This is called theory of complementary shear. The shear stress always, it exists like this only. I will just draw a diagonal here. If you observe this diagonal after deformation, C has taken a new position C dash. AC is smaller than AC dash. So there is a elongation in the diagonal. So when there is a elongation, I can define normal strain in that direction. So I can define strain along AC. Normal strain along the diagonal. Normal strain is defined as change in length by original length. Now what is the change in length for the diagonal? It is AC dash minus AC. AC dash is the final length. Initial length is AC, and divided by initial length is AC. This is how I can define the normal strain for the diagonal AC. Now I have to make a construction. I will just draw a perpendicular from point C to AC dash. I'll call this perpendicular point as point P. For small deformations, or since the deformation is small, this angle or this angle both are equal and they are 45 degree. Because when I draw perpendicular, this angle becomes 90 degree. Other two angles, though there will be a small difference, since the deformation is small, I can imagine that they are almost equal and I can assume that they are 45 degree. for small angles, I can write angle PCC dash is equal to 45 degree, which is equal to angle PC dash C. See, AC dash minus AC can be written as PC dash. So epsilon AC, this equation will become PC dash divided by AC. PC dash is the change in length and AC is the original length. Now, from triangle C dash P, what is PC dash in terms of CC dash? Is it not CC dash cos 45? Yes, PC dash, which is nothing but CC dash cos 45, and cos 45 is 1 over root 2 it is, so CC dash by root 2. Now we'll consider the triangle ACD. AC should be is equal to AD square plus DC square, but AD is equal to DC. Therefore, I can write AC as root 2 into CD. Now these two relations I can substitute. So when I substitute these two relations into the normal strain, epsilon AC is equal to PC dash by AC, and PC dash is CC dash by root 2 divided by AC is root 2 into CD, which will be CC dash divided by 2 into CD. And we also know from the definition of shear strain, CC dash by CD is nothing but tan of gamma. So I can write tan gamma is equal to CC dash by CD, and for small angles tan gamma is gamma shear strain. So I can write CC dash by CD as shear strain. Now epsilon AC, which is equal to CC dash by 2 into CD, but CC dash by CD is gamma, so it is gamma by 2. So according to Hooke's law, what is G into gamma? It is tau. Tau is equal to G into gamma, or gamma is equal to tau by G. So if I substitute this into the normal strain equation, I will get epsilon AC is equal to tau by 2 into G. Call this as equation 1. I have taken a square shape like this and I subjected it to a load like this, shear load like this. On these two also there will be shear. Though your loading is shear stress like this, along the diagonal if you look at, diagonal is extending, or this diagonal is subjected to tensile stress, but the opposite diagonal is subjected to compressive stress. It will be compressed. So diagonal AC is getting elongated and diagonal BD is getting compressed. So if I imagine a small portion here, a square element here, it will be subjected to a tensile stress like this along the leading diagonal, and the opposite faces it will be having a compressive stress. And also it can be proved that this stress is actually equal to tau. Just understand that diagonal AC it is undergoing a tensile stress of magnitude tau, and diagonal BD is undergoing a compressive stress of magnitude tau. Now for this kind of state of stress, we can apply generalized Hooke's law. Generalized Hooke's law says epsilon x is equal to sigma x by E minus nu times sigma y by E minus nu times sigma z by E for a three-dimensional loading. We will try to apply this here in this problem. Applying this here, there is a stress of magnitude tau here, and there is a compressive stress in the other direction is of magnitude tau. So sigma x is equal to tau and sigma y is equal to minus tau because it is compressed, and sigma z is 0 because it is 2D. So now epsilon AC, epsilon along the diagonal, sigma x is tau by E minus mu into sigma y by E. Sigma y is minus tau by E. Tau, if I take common, becomes tau by E times 1 plus nu. So this is equation 2. Equation 1 was epsilon AC is equal to tau by 2G. Now equation 2 is epsilon AC is equal to tau by E into 1 plus nu. We can combine these two equations now. So combining equation 1 and equation 2, that is tau by 2G, this is the first equation, and second equation is tau by E into 1 plus nu. Now here tau can be cancelled on either side and we will get the relationship between G and E. So this will give you G is equal to E divided by 2 into 1 plus nu. This is a very important relationship. Modulus of rigidity is always E divided by 2 into 1 plus nu. We'll just take some example. For steel, we know that E is equal to 200 gigapascal. Poisson's ratio is 0.3. G is equal to 200 divided by 2 into 1 plus 0.3. I'm substituting G and nu. So if I evaluate this, I will get 76.9 GPa. If we know Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio for any isotropic material, we can always evaluate what is the rigidity modulus. In other words, you can say out of these three, if you know any two, you can evaluate the third one. The relation between E and K. K is bulk modulus. So we'll try to relate Young's modulus and bulk modulus. We know bulk modulus is defined for the hydrostatic state. If you take a cuboidal element like this, it should be subjected to same amount of stress in all directions. Then it is called hydrostatic stress. For this case, we can try to apply generalized Hooke's law. So from generalized Hooke's law, epsilon x is equal to sigma x by E minus nu times sigma y by E minus nu times sigma z by E. This is a general equation for 3 dimension. Similarly, I can write for epsilon y, epsilon z also. But now for hydrostatic state of stress with normal stress sigma, now I can write epsilon x. For hydrostatic stress, what is the state? Sigma x is equal to sigma y is equal to sigma z is equal to sigma. So generalized Hooke's law becomes epsilon x is equal to sigma by E minus nu times sigma by E minus nu times sigma by E. All three are equal. So I can take sigma by E common. Inside the bracket, it becomes 1 minus 2 nu. Also, we can get epsilon y is equal to epsilon z is equal to sigma by E into 1 minus 2 nu. Because other two direction also, if you apply the same logic, you will get the same equation because stresses are same in all directions. Now, we will try to use the definition of volumetric strain. By the definition, volumetric strain, epsilon V, we have derived that it is a summation of epsilon x, epsilon y and epsilon z. Now in this case, if I substitute epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z becomes sigma by E into 1 minus 2 nu plus sigma by E into 1 minus 2 nu plus sigma by E into 1 minus 2 nu. Or it becomes 3 times sigma by E into 1 minus 2 nu. This is the volumetric strain. But what is volumetric strain in terms of bulk modulus? K is defined as sigma by epsilon V. What is epsilon V here? Sigma I'll write as it is. Epsilon V is 3 sigma by E into 1 minus 2 nu. I'll write it as 3 sigma into 1 minus 2 nu by E. So I can cancel these two terms. And now I got the relationship between K and E. So this will give you 3 times K into 1 minus 2 nu is equal to E, or I can write it as K is equal to E divided by 3 into 1 minus 2 nu. This is a relationship between bulk modulus and Young's modulus. Again, if I know Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio for any material, I can always evaluate the bulk modulus. So for steel, we know that E is equal to 200 gigapascal and mu is 0.3. So I can write K is equal to 200 divided by 3 into 1 minus 2 into 0.3, which will be obtained as 166.67. Now we will try to combine E, mu and G, all three. So relationship between E, G and K means we will try to eliminate Poisson's ratio from the relation. We know that rigidity modulus G is E by 2 into 1 plus nu. This can be written as E is equal to 2G into 1 plus nu. We also have K is equal to E divided by 3 into 1 minus 2 nu, which can be written as E is equal to 3K into 1 minus 2 nu. The first equation can also be written like this. I want to separate nu from this. So nu can be written as E divided by 2G minus 1. And I can write this by taking LCM as E minus 2G by 2G. Now substitute this expression, which will give you E is equal to 3K into 1 minus 2 into E minus 2G by 2G. Or it can be 3K. I'll take LCM here also so that I can cancel this 2. LCM, if I take G, it becomes G minus E minus of minus plus 2G. Or it can be written as, if I take this 3K inside and G plus 2G becomes 3G. So 3G into 3K becomes 9GK. So 9GK minus 3KE divided by G. I'll just cross multiply. On the left hand side there is E here, so it becomes EG is equal to 9GK minus 3KE, or EG plus 3KE is equal to 9GK, or E, if I take common here, it becomes G plus 3K here is equal to 9GK. So ultimately I can write it as E is equal to 9GK divided by G plus 3K. This is the relationship between the three constants. There is one interesting finding that you have to remember. We obtained K is equal to E divided by 3 into 1 minus 2 nu. Right? This is the relationship we obtained. We know that for any material, E and K cannot be negative. So K to be positive, the denominator here, especially this portion, 1 minus 2 nu has to be greater than 0 always. 1 minus 2 nu should be greater than 0 always. Or ideal cases can be equal to also. So if I consider this condition now, 2 nu should be less than 1 always, or nu should always be less than or equal to 0.5. So nu should always be less than or equal to 0.5.
Calculate the modulus of rigidity and bulk modulus of a cylindrical bar of diameter 25 mm and length 1.6 meter if the longitudinal strain in the bar during tension test is 4 times the lateral strain. Also find the change in volume when the bar is subjected to a hydrostatic pressure of 100 megapascal. Take E is equal to 100 gigapascal. It is a cylindrical bar. You can draw a sketch of this bar. Its diameter is given, length is given. Length is 1.6 meter and diameter is 25 mm. During tension test, longitudinal strain, epsilon longitudinal, is 4 times the lateral strain. This is actually giving you Poisson's ratio value. That means nu is equal to epsilon lateral divided by epsilon longitudinal, which is 1 over 4, or it is 0.25. We are supposed to find out change in the volume, for which we need to calculate what is the original volume. So original volume V, it's a cylinder. Volume of the cylinder is, it is pi d square by 4 into L. You can calculate this. D square is 25 square, L is 1600. If you calculate, you will get 78539.8.16 mm cube. Then it is subjected to hydrostatic pressure of 100 MPa, means hydrostatic stress is sigma 100 Newton per mm square. And we are supposed to find out modulus of rigidity and bulk modulus. When we know E and nu, you can always calculate what is E and K. G is given by E divided by 2 into 1 plus nu. Substitute E and nu and calculate, you will get 40 GPa. And K also can be found out easily. K is what? E divided by 3 into 1 minus 2 nu. So if you substitute and calculate, you will get 66.7 GPa as K. Change in volume can be found out using expression of K. K is what? Sigma by epsilon V. Bulk modulus is defined as the ratio of bulk stress or hydrostatic stress sigma to the volumetric strain. K is 66.7 into 10 power 3 megapascal. That should be is equal to 100 megapascal divided by epsilon V. So this will give you epsilon V. And epsilon V is nothing but dV by V, change in volume by original volume. Original volume is already found out. So this can be used to find out change in volume, which is V into epsilon. To calculate, we are supposed to get 1178.1 mm cube.